Well, Happy New Year, Akeem.
Happy New Year's. I loved your Christmas pictures with your family on Instagram.
Oh,
They were
thank you.
nice.
Thank
You and
you.
your sis.
Um, my question for you is just the emotions heading into this game for you, not having been able to be there the first time around playing the Packers, but having fought through what you guys have and now being in this position to, win and move on and get into the playoffs. What are you feeling heading into this?
The way I see it is we couldn't have asked for a more exciting situation. We're playing our rival, and we're playing it for playoff implications. You really can't write it any better than that. So our goal is to go in and play our best football like we always do.
Pat Finley.
Hey, Keem, how are you?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm all right. As much as we talk about Aaron Rodgers, how important is it going to be to try and slow their run game down, and how much can you help there after not being at Lambeau Field with them?
Well, I feel like playing the run game is one of my strengths, so I definitely feel like I'll help out in that regard. I would say it's an exciting matchup, right? And our first bulletin board point, doesn't matter who we're playing, is to stop the run. The only way to rush the passer is if you stop the run. So that's always a goal of ours.
JJ.
Hey, Kima, I know you probably weren't going to go up against him on Sunday, but with David Bakhtiari suffering that injury in practice yesterday, does that change any of your discussions as a front about what you guys might expect from Green Bay's offensive line on Sunday and what you guys are looking to do?
To be respectful to what he's going through right now, I'd rather not talk about his injury. Mm-hmm. What I will say is that, it's you feel for a guy. Sometimes the game isn't fair. Sometimes you put all your work and you try as hard as you can and you get an unfortunate situation. So with respect to him, I'm gonna wish him well, but I'd rather not talk about how he's hurt.
Cool.
Mark Grody.
Akeem, Chuck Pagano was talking about how there was a different look in your eyes this week, not yours, but the defense as a whole. Do you know what he means by that? And was that the truth?
Light switch on. We're all the way up. Brightness in the room, no dimmer. We want to play football. We're excited to play this game. So I would imagine there is some different looks in some guys' eyes. For me, it's a week-to-week thing. Starting on Wednesday, you start getting geared up. You start understanding what they got going on. Thursday, you're feeling it out. Maybe you're working on your pass rush. But by time Friday comes, you got to be ready to feel it. You got to be ready to feel it, get your rest on Saturday and ball on Sunday. It's a formula and it's a routine, So I would imagine this time of the week, guys are getting pretty excited.
Do you feel more adrenaline than usual, or is it the same? Like you prepare the same?
I'm always up, man. I keep a high level of juice going.
Thanks.
Larry Mayer.
Hey, Akeem, hope you're doing well. The Bears just sent out an injury report indicating that both Buster and Jalen are not going to be playing again. What have you seen from the two guys in Kindle and Duke Shelley that have replaced them, and how big of a spot is this for them on Sunday?
I'm most familiar with Duke and watching his workout, his passion for the game, throughout these past years that he's been here. It's been exciting, and it's great for him to get that opportunity to go out there and play ball. One of my favorite plays so far from him this year was when he smacked, who was that he hit? He smacked one quarterback. Was it Mike Glennon? He smacked somebody trying to knock the taste out of his mouth. That was one of my favorite plays from him so far. So I'm excited for young guys to get the opportunity to get out there and play some good football and contribute to this team. And that's what they work for all year, that moment when they get called up. And so, you wish them the best and you want them to play well and fit into your defense. So excited.
One more, Pat Finley.
Akeem, they had you down with an illness a couple of days ago. I'm just curious, in 2020, or I guess even 2021, when you start to not feel so well, is that a scary thing given the coronavirus? I know you're tested every day, but at any point did you sit there and go, oh no?
It's definitely a thought, and it's definitely something you're worried about. And we take the proper precautions as far as getting guys in and making sure they take a test before they're allowed to get into the building. Different protocol stuff that we have to go through to ensure that a guy, when he has some type of symptoms, whether it be runny nose, a little minor cold, whatever is going on, we try to, stick to that protocol. And much respect to Andre Tucker, our guy here that's, running this whole show. I'll say this. When that snow hit, when the snow dropped up here, I knew it was coming for me. It's just something that happens this time of year for me. I'm a California guy. So when this snow hits, it gets me every time.
I think we're all set. Thanks for your time, Akeem.
See you.
I know this won't be the first game you're going to play with Kindle Vildor starting, but knowing that Aaron Rodgers is on the other sideline and might try to look his way quite a bit, do you talk to him at all about the challenge that's ahead of him with Rodgers, not only Rodgers, but Devontae Adams this weekend?
No, I mean, he's well aware of, who we're going against and our defense and who we're facing with them offensively. And there's going to be, plays that are made by those guys on offense. And like we said yesterday, you got to be able to regroup and you go make a play now. So what better way to, be able to get into a game and you got to rely on your teammates too. We can't just expect him to come on in here and all of a sudden, he's got to learn as he goes. That's the growth of a rookie. So I don't have to say anything to him to answer your question. He knows well, he's well aware of who we're going against.
Pat?
How much different of a defense are you guys when Akeem Hicks is in the game? And given that you lost or that he didn't play the last time you faced the Packers, is he one of the reasons you're hopeful for a much better performance this time around?
Well, with Akeem, he's such a, he's been playing in this league for a long time. He's been a part of this defense for years, and he's a big time leader. So when you have all those elements that are involved, he's gonna obviously help us out big time. And so I think his energy, his veteran leadership, his knowledge, he understands what this game is all about. And he's also one of those guys too, as you all know. I mean, he brings the juice too, and he's going to let people know how he feels, and our guys feed off of that. So to me, as much physically as he is a presence for us, he's emotionally just as big.
Brad Biggs?
Hey, Matt, I know the focus is on Green Bay and Sunday, but what have you seen from Bobby Massey this week? How does he look, and can you project ahead at all with him?
Yeah, Brad, I don't have any projections for him right now. I do think that he's looked pretty good now out there with where he's at. You never know when you're out of football for a little bit like he was, when you come on back, where you're going to be not just physically, but also conditioning wise. You got to get in that football shape. So far, so good with him. I think his attitude's great. He's been doing good with the look team and getting his reps there. So, I like where he's at.
Chris, Emma?
Happy New Year, Matt.
You too, Chris.
The ups and downs of this season to get to this point where one game can get you guys into the playoffs. What kind of message do you give to the team, whether it's today or tomorrow or Sunday pregame, just in terms of trying to get through, get the point of the importance of this home, I guess?
Well, nothing in the next day or two. I mean, it's all been said and done. Like we've been going on this thing for weeks, and we understand where we're at. So now it's just a matter of making sure that everybody's dotting their I's and crossing their T's. We just got done with our third day of in-week practice with the red zone and other specialty situation things. So the guys, I mean, they were flying around today, and I like where they're at. Again, when you have good practices, it normally translates to playing well on Sunday, but we got to do that. So the messaging part, they've been well aware of where we're at for weeks.
Jason Leisure?
Matt, how do you think that Mitch has handled over the years the kind of head-to-head matchup he has at quarterback this week with Rodgers?
I don't know. I'd have to ask him. I think, for us, we've just been in a place where, this is a team that since I've been here, we understand the significance of division games, and we've done pretty well against Detroit. We've done pretty well against Minnesota as a team. And, we only have one win against the Packers. So that's a significant number for us that we want to improve on. As far as him and facing Aaron Rodgers or any quarterback he plays, just like when you guys were asking in regards to Deshaun Watson. I mean, he really, that none of that's brought up. I don't know where he's at mentally with that, other than just thinking team wise, and I think that's good for where he's at, not trying to make it an individual thing.
You don't think he ever feels the pressure of like having to keep up with somebody like him?
No, I don't. I don't. I think, you have to, number one, respect who Aaron is, and that he's been playing this game for a long time, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play in the history of this game. So there's a lot of quarterbacks that when they face a guy like that, they understand that they don't have the experience or have seen as many, teams that or defenses that he's seen. And there's going to be things that he does in a game that, regardless, when you're a younger quarterback, you're just you're not going to be able to do the same because the experiences that he has, So I think we make it more about the team right now, and I haven't heard anything about Mitchell versus Aaron, at least on my end.
Mark Grody.
Hi, man. What has been the advantage or I guess purpose for the indoors practices this week?
I think for us right now, well, yesterday we there was some ice on the field, and we could have went out, but it wasn't worth the risk to be able to. We could have if we really wanted to, but we wanted to be careful there. And I think for us to be able to practice fast, and we've been doing that as well. So it's been helping us. So we've kind of stayed on that course too.
A couple more here. Pat, go ahead.
Matt, when you got up in front of the guys a couple of weeks ago and said, "Hey, we've got 4 games left to play. If we win them all, we've got a shot." What does that do to kind of harden everybody to maybe this week doesn't feel quite as monumental as it could have because you've been kind of living this for the last month?
Yeah, I think that's real, Pat. It's, what's hard is when you say that, you talk about 4 weeks and you kind of set a plan and then you lose that first game. And then it's okay, what's the next plan, right? And so when you win, now you got 1 weekend, and now you win your second one, you got a second weekend. Now you win your third one, you got a third weekend. And the goal is to get 4. And if you do that, at that point in time, we said, if we get 4, we'll at least have put ourselves in a position to where we might have a chance, even with some help. But our guys have responded well to it. And so like you just said, once you win 3 in a row and now you get to this 4th one, the messaging somewhat goes away because they already know it. That's what we said 3 weeks ago. So now what you're focusing on is, schematically, where are you at for this game in all 3 phases, and how are you going to put that plan together? And then where's everybody at mentally? And that's when you build to this point, like we have right now, we've gotten to this point. Now a lot of it's on our own selves to get ready.
Last one, Deion Miller.
Matt, I know you've talked about it a little bit already this week, but how disappointing for a game of this magnitude to have no fans there. You know that they're so excited for this and how much energy that gives you just to get to this point and know that they can't experience what they've wanted to.
Yeah, this is what it's all about, is times like this. It's one thing if you're on the road and you're in this situation and you there's no fans for your opponent you're playing, but when you're at home and you have our fans that are rocking and rolling and being loud and swirling their towels and doing everything they do to help us, especially when we're on defense, and be noisy, that's a huge advantage. And especially it's an advantage with the snap count. With a guy who's one of the best to ever do it, and it's advantage situationally in the red zone with that sort of thing. So we'll certainly miss them, and this would be a time that we would love to have them. But it is what it is right now, and we know that they'll be cheering us on from home, and we gotta create our own on Sunday.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, y'all take care and have a happy New Year. Thank you. Be good.
Hey, Robert, I'm curious, what did you pick up about how Aaron Rodgers is able to kind of diagnose a defense when you guys went up to Green Bay in Week 12?
You just can't, with him, you can't really focus on just one specific week. You look at his body of work throughout his career. I don't play quarterback, but I'm just assume. If you find something that the defense isn't stopping, you just want to keep attacking it. It only makes sense. So, you always hear how smart of a quarterback he is. And I guess that's doing the smart thing, taking what the defense give you. But again, I just play defense, who knows what he's really thinking. For you personally, what do you feel like might be at stake for you in this game on Sunday? Playoffs or go home. That's what it's come down to. Not just me as a team. It's either playoffs or go home. But our best guys got to show up. Not even our best guys, the whole team got to show up. Players, coaches, everyone got to show up. This is like a playoff game before a playoff game. So, it's not to make the stage any bigger. It's just a reality check. So we know what we need to do. Both teams got something at stake, but I guess at this point, who's the most desperate and determined?
Kevin Fishbane.
Hey, Robert, I'm wondering what have been kind of the most challenging parts of this season for you, and if you see kind of an opportunity here to end it on a high note as an opportunity to get into the playoffs.
Well, every day I wake up and I look for opportunity. It's a great day. Every day I wake up, that's one. And anything that I can improve on, I try to take advantage of and do that. As you said, this is a great game to, finally, make my mark for the city. But at the end of the day, I know I can go back and forth. But at the end of the day, I just want to get this win as a team and give ourselves the best chance to get into the playoffs. And, then we can start talking about some more stuff. But at the moment, it's really just about the team trying to get into the playoffs. Then after we do that, y'all can talk about me all you want.
Pat Finley.
Hey, Robert, how are you?
I'm great. How you doing today?
I'm good. Aaron Rodgers does a really good job of keeping his own jersey clean, but in the last game when you guys didn't touch him, how much of that was what they were doing, and how much of that was what you guys weren't doing?
Well, I think at some point, I'm sure you try to slow down, aggressive front that we have here. So at times they max protect. Then at times I think they're gonna take their challenges of, trusting their guys, taking, beating our guys, and the same thing, we trust ourselves, beating their guys. So it's a chess match. At the end of the day, even if there's 7-8 man protecting and we only got 4 rushers, regardless, we look at ourselves, whoever's out there rushing, we got to win those. And the back end, they got to cover it. No excuses, no explanations, just executing our jobs. And, no matter how we got to do it, stopping the run, if they run the ball 50 times, we got to stop the run. If they throw the ball 50 times, we got to stop the pass. It's just whatever we got to do to win the game. And I'm just keep repeating that.
JJ.
Robert, as you do enter this game, you're 2 sacks short of your previous career low. Does that eat at you? Does that frustrate you? Does that motivate you? How do you approach that?
It's surprising, when I look at it, I'm still shocked. I still can't believe I had a season like I had this year, but it's no excuse. The only person I guess to blame is myself for that. But, I guess if I can double my season production come Sunday and make it impactful, that's a heck of a great season, I guess, to get us in the playoffs. But, it's been me personally, it's been a frustrating year. But again, I wish I can focus on me right now, but I really, I just want to get into these playoffs. Again, my year hasn't been great, but as a team, we gave ourselves a chance. So that's all I can really focus on. Again, we got a game on Sunday. We'll see what happens.
2 more. Deion Miller.
Robert, Chuck just said that he feels there's a different look about you guys this week because of what's at stake and where we're at in the season and fighting back to this point. Do you sense that as well? And what is the vibe like right now as you prepare for this game?
I think guys are really just locked in. Again, we I guess long story short, we started well, shot ourselves in the foot. Now we put ourselves back in the position, to give ourselves a chance. So I think guys are really locked in. Don't want to allow ourselves to have an excuse or, to even put that into thought. So I think guys are really just making sure we take care of every little, thing we have to, cross, dot every I, cross every T, just doing that because, Sunday, again, I was saying it over and over again, Sunday is a playoff game for us because we definitely need to win this one.
Last one, Steve Leventhal.
Yes, hi, Robert. I know this has been anything but a normal year, but I'm just curious, what have you enjoyed or had a chance to enjoy about the city, the fan base, this organization, being in Chicago, that, you can tell all of us here?
One thing I got used to, well, I guess I got used to this cold in a sense. I'm walking outside with Crocs on and no socks. So, and it's 10 degrees outside. So I guess I'm becoming, is it Chicagoan or I don't really. So but it's been, like you said, a weird time. I haven't really got to explore the city a lot. I'm either here at the facility and back home. So, I know earlier I see some deers every now and I'm a country guy, so I like seeing the wildlife. So when I think I saw a bald eagle or something. So I get fascinated by nature. Like I said, I'm a country guy. I'm very simple.
I think we're all set. Thanks for your time, Robert.
Well, Eddie, Happy New Year. First of all, just the way this season has gone for you guys, are you surprised you're in this position where you are facing your greatest rival with a chance at the playoffs and that you guys as a group have fought back from that skid?
Happy New Year's. I'm surprised, not really, but to say, how can I put it? Just to know everything we went through, early on in the season, it was kind of, something that we knew like it was a possibility of this happening, for us. We just had to, catch back on to the momentum we had early on in the season, going on a 6-game losing streak. It kind of weighs a tolls on you, guys. Like I said, we've been saying this for a long time, type of guys we got in the locker room, want nobody give up, it was frustrating, at times, it was kind of, hard to see the vision, but remember what you were fighting for. So for us to kind of be here is kind of we seen it coming, but for us to be here in the circumstances that happened, it was kind of a shock.
You guys know Aaron Rodgers so well. What do you have to do better this time than what happened in week 12?
Just go out there and execute, do your job, as individuals, out there, don't try to do too much. Just go out there and do your job, take care of your assignments and, contain Aaron Rodgers. We can't keep letting him just pat the ball and give him time to just sit back there and make different reads. You have to put pressure in his face. You got to get him uncomfortable, give him different looks disguise wise. So stuff like that where we have to go in this week and do and work on those things.
Dan Wiederer.
Eddie, good to see you. We know how the playoff game in 2018 was for you individually. Is that in the back of your head this week, knowing that you want that taste of the postseason?
Oh, most definitely. That's been on my mind since, the Eagles game. Like I had a chance to. I haven't got a chance to compete in my first playoff game, in the NFL. So that's something in my mind. Like, I got, fuel to the fire deep down inside, especially what they did to us was embarrassing, and I know guys on the defensive side of the ball, even guys on the offense, like everyone take heed to that. We take heed to the disrespect that's been thrown, all the shots we've been seeing with them in the media and all the stuff. And we take heed to that. And right now it's no more talking, it's that simple. Everybody has to step up and play ball, even me, haven't making the plays that I've been made in the past, but this game, like I told coach, I'm full throttle, from start to finish. There's no slowing down. There's no excuses. It's none of that. It's win or go home. It's been like that for the last, 4 weeks for us. So we know what's at stake for us. We had a lot to lose, and a lot to gain as well, so we got to go out there and lay it on the line.
What's one shot that you've taken note of that they've taken at you?
Oh, about the old lineman saying beat the piss out of the Bears, and just old clips of Aaron Rodgers when he got his MVP trophy or whatever he got about ain't nothing like beating the Bears. Yeah, we know all that, and just all of the taunting and everything they did, during the game. Man, it's like I said, it's no more talking, man. It's everything is high. We ready.
Kevin Fishbane.
Eddie, when you face Rodgers, what's the balance for you? I know you obviously want to get your hands on the football. He's probably going to try to keep it away from you. How do you try to balance away getting involved in the play, but also not taking the type of chance that you can get burned?
Just basically just trying to, like I said, do your job, take care of your assignment, your responsibility, and just trying to be around the ball as much as possible, whether it's a run to the other side, just hustle plays, just trying to get those things like that. A lot of hustle plays where the play might not be coming to you, but you can go and chase it down or impact it some way, somehow, and that's what we have to do, especially against him. He's a smart quarterback. I know he likes to look at us a lot in the back end and safeties to see our disguise, to tell what coverage we're in. So we just kind of gotta confuse him and get him on his heels a little bit.
Chris Emma.
Eddie, when you hear some of the stuff you talked about that the Packers have been saying, how is it mentioned with the team? I mean, is it stuff that you guys discuss together? Is it brought up in team meetings? And who's the one who kind of brings it up to everybody?
It's so we have a screen in the building when you come in, as soon as you walk into the locker room, it's a big screen where you can see what was said in the media by them, or, things like that, what was said by a player or a coach or, media. It could be anything, it's always on that board. So when you walk in, you that's the first thing you see in the morning, or he said this about it. So it's like, oh, okay. And what that takes, like them scoring 40 points on us and the type of game we played, just hearing people say we gave up and now tables have turned. We faced them with everything to lose, for the last game of the regular season to get into the playoffs. So it's kind of like it's no better feeling, it's nothing that aligns greater. But this type of rivalry that's ahead of us, and like I said, man, we ready. It's enough talking. There's no more of that.
A couple more. Pat Finley.
Eddie, how much easier would your job be if you guys could get a good pass rush on Aaron Sunday?
Man, that'd be way easier. Like I said, the thing that gets him more riled up is confusing him, putting pressure on him, not letting him know where he's gonna go with the ball before he hikes it. Just giving him different looks. And right now, that's something that it takes all phases. From special teams, offenses, especially defense. From the rush to the coverage to the disguise. We all got to work together right now. The best we ever worked this whole year for us to win this game.
Last one. Dan, go ahead.
Eddie, a couple of weeks ago, the Panthers found a way to confuse them a little bit with some of the stuff they did on the back end and some of the things. Have you studied that much? And what were your takeaways on some of the things that they did to really make life uncomfortable for them?
Just giving him different looks. Safety's coming down on one side, shooting to the other side of the field, or you showing that you down and going back into coverage. Minnesota Vikings, Harrison Smith did a great job with it as well. And you see the teams that do that, the way he responds, he don't know where he's going to go with the ball once you give him this look. So we definitely looking at it. We definitely taking down details and putting together different things that we could do to try to confuse him and get him on his heels and, mix some pressures in there.
Hey, Cole, just curious what your emotions are going into this game, just in terms of the excitement level of knowing that you guys put yourself in a position to be able to make the playoffs with a win on Sunday.
Yeah, obviously there's been a lot of ups and downs this year, from the start to the middle and now to the end. So, we're obviously really excited that we put ourselves now in this position to be able to get into the playoffs and to play against a team like the Packers, and in a rival game like this is pretty cool and pretty special. So I know we're all really excited and can't wait to get out there on Sunday.
JJ.
Hey, Cole, what has Jimmy Graham meant to you this year, and just the way that he's conducted himself and what you've picked up from him?
Yeah, I mean, from the first day I met him up to this point, it's been pretty cool to kind of see how our relationship has grown. I've learned a lot of stuff from him, football wise, some life stuff and just how to handle yourself, on and off the field. He's just been a great mentor for me, and I'm super lucky to have a guy like him as a rookie, coming into this league. And, it's been pretty cool to see how our relationship has grown, from not only teammates, but, as a good friend of mine. So it's been pretty awesome.
Steve Leventhal.
Yeah, Cole, tell me, what's the difference like between growing up and seeing the rivalry between the Bears and the Packers and actually playing in a rivalry game between the Bears and the Packers?
Yeah, obviously growing up as a fan, it's just a big game every year because I think this is the most historic rivalry in the National Football League. And so as a fan, you obviously, from afar on Sunday, you're getting ready for it and whatnot. But as a player, the lead up to this is pretty exciting. And we all know the meaning behind it and the history behind it. So, the preparation for the whole week, you feel it like we're feeling it this whole week. And we're all really excited to go. So it's going to be a lot of fun this Sunday.
Colleen Kane.
Hey, Cole, we talked to Mitch a little bit about it yesterday, but how do you keep your emotions in check when this is such a big game for you? Probably obviously the biggest game of your career so far.
Yeah, I think you just treat it like every other week. We're not changing anything about our preparation style or anything like that. And, we're going to keep doing what we've been doing and stay true to who we are. And I think, just continuing to the same type of processes we've had for now these past couple of weeks, we'll continue to do that. And I think that's what's going to lead to a victory on Sunday.
Dan?
Cole, as a lifelong Bears fan, do you remember where you were for week 17 in 2013?
Oh, geez. I don't know. That was a while ago, but no, I don't remember. I remember watching the game. I don't remember where I was, though.
You remember that game, though, the specifics of that division championship game there?
Not too much of it, but, I remember the big game, and I wish I knew where I was, but, all those Bears-Packer games were a big deal in our house and with all my friends.
On an unrelated topic, the offense has obviously made such a dramatic breakthrough over the last month. When you reflect on just how significant the turnaround has been, how do you explain it? How do you sort of put your fingers on why this has become such an upward arc for you guys here?
I think it's just kind of been a culture that we've built from up front and kind of just within the offense. And, I think you can see guys running towards the football after the play. And not to say that we weren't doing that before, but you see all 11 of us running to the ball, or really all 10 of us who don't have the ball running towards the football after the play and helping our teammates up and making sure we're there in case, if that ball comes out, we're there to pick it up, or, if someone hits our teammate, like we're there to pick them up. And I think that's part of the culture and the kind of the love that we have for one another on the field right now. And I think everyone's playing with that passion, and it's been pretty cool to see that week to week.
Two more for Cole. Chris Emma.
Cole, when you look through kind of your scouting of the way you've played this season, in what way do you feel you've improved the most as a tight end and as an NFL player?
Yeah, I think just my comfort level with really everything in the run and pass game, week to week has been growing every week. And the more you see these defenses and how they disguise things and the way that certain players play, that's something that I've learned to really hone in on during the week. And that's something that I just feel like I'm getting better and better as the week goes on.
Last one, Mark Grody.
Cole, I only asked this completely in a relationship to sports, but did you hate the Packers growing up?
Yeah, no, there's no green or yellow in my house, so we'll leave it at that.
It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse. It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse. WCPT. WCPT.
This the coldest sports show. You were getting the hour from 6 p.m. to 7. Chillin' with Lauren Cox and the man Marvelous. Shout out to Mr. Rouse and the Italian style. You what sports is the only politic.
WCPT. WCPT. It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse. It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse.
Ryan Nall is in the background, in the backfield now. The pass over the middle, touchdown. That's Graham on the receiving end.
This is well done. He's just going to work off of Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson's going to go first. Graham's going to start out and run the little angle route right behind him. And just watch the window that this creates for Mitchell Trubisky. That is a huge window and a big target in Jimmy Graham.
Trubisky steps up, throws for the end zone, wide open, touchdown, Jimmy Graham. On first and goal, Montgomery gets the call and gets the touchdown. The Bears have been relentless here in the second half.
You see him step through a would-be tackler and just walk into the end zone untouched. I mean, that's pretty much an easy run.
This is 2nd and 2. Trubisky on the move, gonna keep it to the end zone for the touchdown.
This is the benefit of having a quarterback like Trubisky that's got some wheels, Greg, that can run in this part of the field. You see the run action, you see the Cole Kmet, he comes back and he's going to run the under route, and there's just a huge gaping hole that Mitchell Trubisky just can't turn down.
Pierce, left side, walks into the end zone. That's the first touchdown of his young NFL career.
Greg, you weren't lying when you said he walked into the end zone. I mean, he goes into the end zone untouched. I mean, it's just too easy.
That pass is intercepted. Picked off by Roquan Smith.
Well, it gets tipped first by Trevathan. Trevathan's covering a different receiver. It gets tipped right into the... Trevathan's going to tip it first. Watch, he's covering the crossing route, and he gets his hand out in front of it, and it just winds up falling right into the lap.
It's been good. I just feel lucky and blessed to be able to play, to be back in this offense, to be out there with my guys playing. And it's been a crazy season, but I'm just fortunate to be out there, to be able to play, and to be able to help this team win. So I just love our mindset, where we're at right now, how we keep getting better, how we battle through adversity. Not only myself, but we battled adversity as a team, and we just continue to come closer together. And that's how you create special memories, just getting through the tough times and enjoying the great times together. So we got a great opportunity this week to continue to finish strong and get better, and that's what I'm looking forward to. And it's been a fun ride.
I would say the third quarter thing, I'll be completely honest with everybody on this call. I have no idea. We've studied it. We've looked at it. It's crazy, the amount of struggle we've had in that third quarter. So I don't know. I don't know when I'll know. But to play well today in the third quarter, part of it is going to be, I think when the season ends, you go back, you say, okay, how many possessions did you get the ball to start the third quarter versus a team that gets the ball to start the third? You have a less possession. Green Bay's a hell of a football team, and there's a reason why they're sitting right now as the number 1 seed. So, for us, we got to worry about us. We got to understand what happened in that game, and then we know that we're guaranteed one more game. Nothing else. And if we do well in that one game, then we'll have an opportunity for more. But we can't worry about that. We just worry about us.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do is worry about us. Us are your Chicago Bears, winners over the lowless, the dismal, the embarrassing Jacksonville Jaguars. They fall to 1-14. The Bears improved to 8-7 with a 41-17 victory over the Jags on the road. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another edition of the Rewind Sports 60. Yours truly, Jerry Riles, on WCPT 820 AM in the beautiful, beautiful city of Chicago and the great neighborhood of Jefferson Park. This is another edition of the Rewind Sports 60. It is the fastest hour in sports conversation, and let's get right to them, ladies and gentlemen. No, of course, there's no baseball in the air, although we might talk a little bit about baseball and the future World Series champion Chicago White Sox, hopefully in 2021. But for right now, the fastest hour in sports conversation, we got football on the mind. But this gentleman, he's not over at Wrigley, not over at, what do they call it? It's not the Cell anymore. What's it called? Guaranteed Rate Field. He's not at, is this still the Allstate Arena? Or is it Rosemont? Which one is it? He's not over there, ladies and gentlemen. He's not at the United Center. He's in studios on Milwaukee Avenue, the north side, WCPT 820 AM, and he is listening Well, he was listening to DePaul basketball. You love him. He is the marvelous one. He's Dan Marvel. What's up, Marvel? How are you?
Hey, how you doing? I did watch the 41-17 game, and there was nothing wrong with the third quarter in which we outscored the Jags 21-0. And the running game was good again. Montgomery got 95 yards, almost got his 100. And it is true that Green Bay is tough, but we have our destiny now that Arizona lost last night. We have the chance to make the playoffs for whatever that will be worth, short and sweet, for New Orleans or Green Bay as the opponent. But it's good to see the offense really stepping up a notch. It didn't look possible 2 weeks ago, did it?
No, it didn't. It certainly didn't look possible 2 weeks ago. But I don't want to get into the Bears just quite yet. I do not want to get into the Bears just quite yet. I want to hear about your beloved DePaul Blue Demons. What? They finally get an opportunity to play a basketball game.
That's right.
Unbelievable.
Well, they did. They got a game in last Wednesday where they handled Western Illinois quite easily. And their stamina and legs were tested today in a double overtime 95-90 loss to Providence on the road. And, it's crazy with the whole COVID year. I mean, they had two players that played today that were out on Wednesday due to COVID protocol, Weems and Hall, and Weems just scored 21 points. So I guess he was quarantined and shooting at the Nerf ball or something. So it was a tough loss because I don't understand. They were up by up by 3. In regulation, and the other team had the ball. Why don't you foul? They let them make a 3-pointer to tie it.
Yeah.
That strategy I don't understand. But beyond that, they deserve to lose because of that coaching error, in my opinion.
Wow, Dave Lato over there at the helm, and it's a tough pill to swallow, as they say, but it's just, I think, a breath of fresh air for the basketball program, the athletic department over there, as far as the men are concerned, for them to actually finally have an opportunity to get on the court and play a basketball game. Win or lose, of course you want to win, but win or lose, I think they're just relieved that they get an opportunity to get on the basketball court.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because you have to be very flexible. Every day you could have a game canceled. Here, Illinois State just played at Loyola today, and they play tomorrow. And that conference is doing back-to-backs to save the travel. And now the Valparaiso team has come down with COVID, so they can't play them next. So you got to be very flexible this year.
You certainly do, and you can be the Duke women's basketball team. They unfortunately canceled their entire season due to this COVID-19 and what we're going through. So
Chicago State, you mean? Chicago State canceled the rest of their season.
The Duke women's program did as well.
And the men at Chicago State, yeah.
Yeah, they certainly did. So I guess they're talking about this second strain that is really running rampant.
In England, it's more contagious, they say.
Yeah, it certainly is, and supposedly is expected to be. Some say that it's already here in the United States.
Yeah.
So it's been an incredible year, 2020, and I want to say thank you to all of you who are listening and who've been listening to the Rewind Sports 60, the best damn sports show in the city of Chicago, the fastest hour in sports conversation here in the market. I want to say thank you to all of you who have been practicing wearing your mask, washing your hands for how long is it? Like 24 seconds or 30 seconds or something like that? You're supposed to say the birthday song twice while you're washing your hands?
20 seconds.
Something like that, yeah. And then of course, you're practicing the social distancing, at least 6 feet away. And the example that was used early on this 2020 year was Mitchell Trubisky trying to throw a 6-yard pass. So I want to say thank you to all of you out there who have taken this thing very seriously to not only protect yourself, but protect your loved ones. For those of you who are still out there who are in doubt and for some strange reason believe it's just a hoax or it's not real, I pray that you do come over to reality and understand, even if you don't believe it, understand you should have some respect for your fellow man, for your fellow woman, for your neighbor, for yourselves. But I want to commend everyone who's been able to lock horns, join forces, unite, and work collectively in unity, in unison, to try to fight this thing off. Because 2020, wow, it was definitely a very tough and challenging year. And I am happy in a selfish way that we do Marvelous have sports.
Oh yeah.
to lean on, and I commend the athletes who are going out there and battling, and it's a form of entertainment for us. But some people say that these athletes are essential workers. However we want to dress it up, it is a way of escaping some sort of relief for those of us who are in need of it and who are in search for it.
Yeah, it's a welcome relief to see the games. I mean, it's tough because I'm used to seeing them in person, as you know.
Of course.
But there's no hoax with 300,000 dead people in the U.S., I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I mean, it's a breath of fresh air, but we certainly understand what's at stake here. And again, I want people to continue to, practice washing your hands, stay the distance, wear your mask, and if you don't have to go out, don't do it. Well, the season, the weather is going to have something to do with that as well. It was brutal on Friday. Merry Christmas to all of you out there. Happy Hanukkah for those of you celebrating in the past, just passed, and of course Kwanzaa. Happy holidays to all of you out there. But Christmas, it was brutal. It was brutal. So if you don't have to go outside, simply don't do it. Don't do it. But if you do, practice the social distancing. The Bears are playing outside. This one on the road in Jacksonville. And you see the fans in the stands?
Yeah, every Florida team I've noticed has a good portion of fans. But I'll tell you what, it was good to hear Greg Gumbel. He hasn't done a Bears game in a long time.
Yeah.
Along with his buddy Rich Gannon today.
Yeah.
Calling that game. And because they usually aren't on CBS to begin with, it sure has been a long time since he called a Bears game.
That's exactly right. And courtesy go out to CBS on the sports call that we had. And Rich Gannon, of course, when I saw him and heard him in the booth with Greg Gumbel, a Chicago product for sure, it was interesting because former Chicago Bear quarterback Mike Glennon was the starter, and he was named this earlier this week. And he was like, what? But, and of course, that our good friend Kelly Lee Williams, his favorite quarterback in the National Football League, Chase Daniels, got an opportunity to play this past week as well yesterday. So so I'm like Marvelous. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Well, don't forget, Mike Glennon was our 2017 starter.
Yeah.
And then we went ahead and picked the second overall pick anyway.
But we got a bunch of backup quarterbacks. I'm like, what's going on here? And here's the scary thing about it regarding backup quarterbacks is the fact that, again, congratulations to the Chicago Bears on their 41-17 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars to improve to 8-7. But here's the scary thing about these backup quarterbacks. We play the Green Bay Packers, and that's what I mean. It's for all the marbles, as they say. But the scary thing about it is, let's say for whatever reason, somehow, some way, we beat the Green Bay Packers over at Soldier Field next Sunday. We don't know if it's going to be a 12 o'clock kickoff or if the league is going to push it back to a 3:25 kickoff. But whatever the case may be, if the Bears are able to get into the playoff, you understand that
yes.
Mitchell Trubisky is going to be our quarterback in 2021.
Yeah.
Do you understand that?
Appears that way.
Are you comfortable with that?
Well, after the last 2 weeks, you might have some hope for that, but in general,
I have no hope.
Okay.
Zero. My buddy Greg Daniels, I hope he's listening. He said, "Hey Mitchell, he's got to correct 6, 7, 8 things, and then he'll be a hero." Yeah. I'll go, he's not a hero, he's a zero. I don't want to rest. And I know the Bears didn't pick up his extension.
Yeah.
But they could franchise tag him, correct?
Yeah.
They can sign into a 1-year deal, and he comes back because when Devin and I went through, as far as the Bears picks are concerned, or their draft picks for this 2021 season, it simply doesn't look good. There's no real quarterbacks that's out there on the market that the Bears could entertain for the most part, and so it would appear that if the Bears beat the Green Bay Packers in the regular season on a 4-game winning streak, make it to the playoffs, win or lose, that administration, that front office up there at Hallis Hall, they're saying, hey, listen, we overcame a 6 game losing streak. We overcame COVID. We overcame no training camp. We overcame that, made it to the playoffs. Mitch Trubisky has finally got his training wheels underneath him. He can move this offense. And we're going to be stuck with these same stooges for another year. And we've been saying, even when they were 5-1, smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors. This 3-game winning streak, they're against 3 of the worst teams in the National Football League. 3. J.J. Watt, he didn't even show up for that game, did he?
I don't think
No,
so.
he was having Lou Malnati's and eating Portillo's on Michigan Avenue instead of playing in the football game.
Yep.
These 3, and believe me, it's a recipe that the Bears needed. We needed these 3 teams because we needed these 3 victories. But at the end of the day, when you look at all the paper and everything, playoffs or not, this is not the formula for a successful journey as far as this football team is concerned.
Right.
In my opinion.
They can still back into the playoffs if the Cardinals lose to the Rams next week, by the way. So,
Yeah. So, I mean, and I know Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy, Ted Phillips, they're going to spin doctor this thing and tell George and Virginia McCaskey, hey, listen, we have overcome all obstacles. We cleared all the hurdles. We made it to the playoffs. We got our brains beat in, of course, but we made it to the playoffs after losing 6 straight games. We deserve another opportunity when everything is 100% and we get capped. Mitchell Trubisky has another year under his belt. He is the quarterback of the future.
Yeah, well, I mean, even if they didn't make the playoffs, I'm not sure what they would do with the quarterback. You know, their options are not in the position of Jacksonville that seems to be winning the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, just I question whether they'd make a change anyway, personally, but we'll see.
Who, the Bears?
Yeah, I mean, what would they do?
Well, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. What would they what would they do?
Yeah.
What would they do? I trade all my draft picks. I trade them all.
Okay.
I trade them all. Move me up, I'll trade them all.
Okay.
Yeah, but first of all, if I'm George McCaskey, I'm reevaluating the front office that I have. I'm reevaluating the coaching staff. I'm reevaluating everything. You supposed to have a guru in Matt Nagy of an offensive genius as far as play calling is concerned. They've minimized the playbook to a couple pages because his plays are too complicated for the players that they have. His quarterback can't run efficiently. He cannot run the plays. And thank God somebody got in Matt Nagy's ear and told him, hey, listen, you have to take your playbook and give it away because you don't know what you're doing with what you have. You're trying to force feed these guys to run these plays, and it's not working. And I've heard over in the past, and we're going to be joined by our weekly analyst, former Chicago Bear outside linebacker Bruce Herron, number 51 in the program, number 1 in our hearts. He's on our TR60 hotline. We'll get to him real quick. But, you know, I heard speculation after the Bears started winning, after the 6-game losing streak, that they said, well, did Matt Nagy jump the gun and bench Mitchell Trubisky too soon in place of, what was it, week 4, in place of Nick Foles? Had Matt Nagy stuck with Mitchell Trubisky, maybe the Bears don't go on a 6-game losing streak.
And maybe he doesn't come back if Foles doesn't get hurt.
Exactly. But I say to those people out there, it had nothing to do. Mitchell Trubisky is not, again, as far as my book is concerned, he's not an NFL caliber quarterback. He is not a Hall of Famer, as Lori Lightfoot said.
Mitch Trubisky's never going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Never going to be that, all right? He's a backup quarterback at best, okay? But this is probably what would have happened with the Bears season. That 5-1 smoke and mirror situation that we were experiencing. If Matt Nagy had put his pride on the shelf earlier in the season and went to the running game and gave the ball to David Montgomery, who incidentally, congratulations on rushing for 1,000 yards. Despite that, he rushed for 1,000 yards for the season. He finished with 23 carries for 95 yards today and a touchdown, averaged 4.1 yards per carry. But if Matt Nagy had just gone to the running game earlier in the season, I truly believe we would not have experienced a 6-game losing streak, because this guy is a beast. And I understand the musical chairs that the Bears were playing offensively on the line there. I get it. But the boy is a beast.
Yeah, and there was one game where he was out, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was injured.
Yeah.
He was injured. But I truly believe had we had gone to the running game a lot sooner, it would have been a big difference as far as the look of offensive. And they're talking about identity. They're saying, oh, no, we got an identity. Yeah, your identity is you're running the football because you got David Montgomery. That's your identity that you've had all along. Yep. For whatever reason, you just ignored it. So if when in doubt, run the rock. When in doubt, run the rock. And you got a boy that you drafted who certainly can run the rock. And again, despite the low numbers of carries this season and the games missed due to injury, he still rushed for 1,000 yards. And he still got another game to go.
Amazing.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Our number here is 773-763-9278, 773-763 WCPT. This is the Rewind Sports 60. It's the fastest hour in sports conversation. Yours truly, Jerry Riles, along with the marvelous one, Dan Marvin. We want to say hello to our friend of the program, the 17th letter in the alphabet, Quentin Demps, former Chicago Bears strong safety, tuning in. And, of course, Lauren Cox. She's taking care of some business on assignment. We'll see her in a couple weeks in the new year for sure, but we want to definitely hear from you if you got any input on this Bears victory 41-17 over the Jags and what we all have been bracing for, the opportunity. The opportunity, our destiny is in our hands, and that means we have to kick some ass next Sunday on the lakefront, shaking the lake against the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. And before we go to Bruce Heron, Marvelous, I don't know if it's going to be easy or not. It's going to be interesting to see what unfolds in this game and this upcoming week.
Well, in Green Bay, the result was pretty ugly a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So,
yes, they were.
It just doesn't seem possible that they could pull it off, but hopefully Green Bay won't play their best, or they'll be looking ahead or something.
Well, that's the thing. Some people are speculating that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers would play just a half of football. That they'll play a half of football. They have the division all locked up, and I'm not sure as far as a bias concerned, but they think that the Bears will have the second half, and they should be able to do some damage. Others are saying, wait a minute, this is the Green Bay Bears rivalry, and the Packers aren't going to let up, because if they have a say in the Bears not advancing to the playoffs as far as beating them, they're going to play 60 minutes of football with their starters in the game, and they're going to do everything in their power to prevent the Bears from beating them. And so I think the jury is still out, but it's going to be very, very interesting to see the game plan as far as the Bears are concerned and the execution as far as the team is concerned. Before we bring on Bruce Heron, let's go out to our phone lines. We've got Tor calling from Morton Grove on our TRS60 line. Tor, what's up, man? How are you?
Good. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, thank you.
I wanted to ask you the question of the Packers game next week. I feel the Packers are going to pull out all the stops to prevent the Bears from reaching the playoffs. If the Cardinals haven't already lost that day.
Yeah, well, here's the speculation. Here's the speculation, and you can hold on real quick, but here's the speculation. The Bears right now, and I stated it earlier when we got started with the show, and we're going commercial free just to let everyone know, but the speculation that the league is going to move the Bears, right now the game is scheduled for 12 o'clock kickoff on the lakefront. They're saying there's chances that the league will move that game because of the importance of it to a 3 o'clock game. So that they can get the most attention and the most excitement narrowing down as far as the playoff picture is concerned. So if that's the case, I truly believe that, and we'll get a chance to hear from Bruce Heron, but I think the Bears, they're going to have to play 60 minutes of football, because I just personally think that Aaron Rodgers I mean, they hate us just like we hate them. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers wants to lose to the Chicago Bears to end the regular season, despite the fact that they're already in the playoffs and they're looking to go deep into the playoffs. Your thoughts?
Okay. But like I say, I think the rivalry still stands as it has for years. And I think if the Bears have the chance to make the playoffs by winning or be eliminated by losing, I think the Packers will, start their starters all game long and they'll try to stop the Bears.
If they do that, if Aaron Rodgers,
the Bears are going to have to beat them at their best.
Can we do it?
Well, if Rodgers is smiling in the pregame warm-ups, I don't think so.
Hey, man, thank you for your call. We appreciate it. Keep listening. It's the fastest hour in sports conversation, the Rewind Sports 60. Your thoughts?
Jerry, and I was looking this up. I mean, the Packers have the tiebreaker over the Saints. So if they tie with them, they get the bye. But they're playing the Titans tonight.
Right.
So it's possible that the game could be quite meaningful for them, depending upon how the game tonight turns out. And NBC still has to pick a Sunday night game next week. People are thinking it might be Browns-Steelers, but Packers-Bears might be in the hunt for that too.
That's exactly right. Let's go out to our TRS60 hotline. He is beloved here in the Rewind Sports 60, WCPT 820 AM. He's on our hotline. He is the one, the only, number 51, Bruce Heron. Bruce, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you guys doing?
We're doing okay, man. It's a Bears victory. Bears Sunday.
Yes, indeedy. Yes, indeedy.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way the game started, but the Bears they got themselves together and put on the show. So I was happy to see that. I've been listening to you, Jerry, talk about Trubisky so that blasted bad. Don't be so hard on the guy. He's been playing well, and I'll tell you what. The reason he's been playing well is because all of the adjustments that Nagy has made with the offense. That's something he should have done. He should have done 2 years ago. But he was trying to force Trubisky to be something that he's not. And so now he's playing to his strength and allowing him to make plays. And the kid is doing it. I mean, he had really had one bad pass today, and that was that interception in the end zone.
Right.
Other than that, I mean, he played extremely well. But he has been doing that for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
3 or 4 weeks.
But there's a reason behind that, Bruce, and the reason that I get on this kid is the fact that it's a false sense of hope. It's a false sense of hope, and to me, it sends the wrong information. It sends the wrong information. He is, in my opinion, the best he can be is a backup quarterback in the National Football League. And for all and I don't want any ill will against anyone, and I want success, especially for this team and whoever is leading this team. But the success that he has against mediocre talent and mediocre teams in this league sends a false sense of hope to those in charge who made the decision, which means it becomes a long-term project. And to invest so much into this kid when you're only going to get mediocre performance at best, it's pushed back the success rate as far as this team is concerned another year. And again, I'm not trying to be hard on Mitchell Trubisky, and you say the success that he had in his 3-game winning streak, but they scaled down the play calling so much for this kid. And I joke that I can go out there, Marvelous could go out there, you can go out there. But the only thing you have to do if you're Mitchell Trubisky and what he's been able to do against these mediocre teams is just follow the script and throw a 5-yard out or a 10-yard, dive or whatever the case may be. You throw those easy passes because we saw what happened when he tried to improvise and get into the end zone. He threw an interception because he left the script. And good teams aren't going to fall for that, man. Good teams are not going to fall for that. And that's why I can't invest myself into this guy because he's mediocre at best.
Well, you know what? I think differently. And the reason being is that, I mean, I'm sitting here watching, before the call here, sitting here watching Seattle and L.A. Rams go at it. Jared Goff, his first year, I'm telling you, man, he was like, what, the first, second player pick, quarterback pick, the year that he got drafted. He looked, I mean, below average. They were talking about whether or not this kid even could play in the league. And it took a change in coaches for them to come up with a system that matched his talent level. And he's been doing great. Of course, LA is getting beat right now, but Jared Goff has been playing well the last ever since the current coaching staff came on board. And it's all about taking the talent that you have and coming up with a system to match that talent. Now, if you want to force him to fit into a system that you've already got set, and he doesn't have the ability to do that, then you're not going to have success. And that's what's been happening with this kid. Like I said before, and I've said this many times before, it's not Mitch Trubisky's fault that the Bears went out on a limb and drafted him, the number 2 player, the year that he got drafted, and gave up the house pretty much to get it. But if we're stuck with him, if we got to use it, then we've got to come up with a system that matches his ability, and they've done that. They've done that, and we're right now we're looking at the rewards from that adjustment. It took a 6-game losing streak for them to do it, but I mean they actually had no choice because Foles, they put Foles in and he wasn't much better. So they had to go to the drawing board and come out with something different than they were doing.
I think they already had the formula, but they were just too stubborn. And I say they, when I say Matt Nagy, he was too stubborn because he drew up these plays and he had this big playbook like a phone book, and he said, hey, listen, these plays work. Only thing you guys have to do is go out there and get the job done. Well, unfortunately, he didn't, and you're right. It's not Mitchell Trubisky's fault that he was drafted. But for Matt Nagy, it's unfortunate because he didn't have the impact players to run the plays that he had designed. And it took us almost falling off the cliff for him to finally say, I need to hand this thing over. Now, you give it to Bill Lazor, and he scaled it down to a simplest form to allow this guy to have success. I think at the end of the day, Bruce, and I respect your opinion, and I respect your knowledge, and I respect what you've brought to the game and what you bring to the show, but Mitchell Trubisky with a scaled down offense is not going to work when you play, especially in the playoffs, when you're playing teams that defense. Here's an example. You watched the game today against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So did I. We all watched it, right? Yeah. And we saw the success that Mitchell Trubisky had. Why? Because players were open. Players were where they were supposed to be, and Mitchell delivered the ball where he needed to deliver it. When you look at the Green Bay Packers defensively against the Bears offense next week, those players, when you see in Jacksonville who were maybe 5-7 yards off the player or off the play or off the ball, the Green Bay Packers defense is going to close that gap considerably. They're going to be 2 yards off the play or off the player. And the plays that work today, they're almost not necessarily going to work next week. And that's the problem. You need an NFL quarterback who can play football, knows how to improvise, i.e. Kyler Murray for the Arizona Cardinals, who are trying to play for the playoffs as well, but he plays football when he gets out there. You don't have to scale down the playbook for him because he's playing football. And that's the difference, in my opinion, between what Mitchell Trubisky brings to the table and a bona fide NFL quarterback.
No, you know what? I think I can somewhat agree with what you're saying if that was in fact what they've done. They haven't scaled down the offense. They haven't gone to an elementary playbook. What they've done is they've taken Mitchell's talents. Mitchell is not an NFL drop back quarterback. He can't sit in the pocket and pick and choose which receiver to throw the ball to. Mitch has the ability to scramble. He's a hell of a runner. So you get him out and open, you roll him out, and you get him out, and you've heard them say this numerous times where they say, you know what, you roll him out, and now he has 1/3 of the field to process, and now he can pick and choose without any pressure, which receiver to throw the ball to, and that's what they've done with him. They just all they've done is just reprogram the playbook that they had. And you know what? It's the same thing as if you took Tom Brady and you take Tom Brady and you put him in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Tom Brady could run the same system as in Kansas City as what they're running in Tampa? No. Tom is not he's not a move around kind of guy. Patrick Mahomes, you know what? How many times have we seen Patrick Mahomes drop back, move in the pocket, run left, run right, throwing the ball back sideways and all that? I mean, this kid, he's unbelievable. But that system, with all of the speed that they have, it just that system that they're running in Kansas City, it doesn't fit a whole bunch of NFL teams.
That's true.
But yes, it is true. Absolutely.
But Bruce, the example wasn't Tom Brady, because if you put Tom Brady in Kansas City with that talent, here's the deal. Patrick Mahomes, and he won the Super Bowl as the MVP, he said it took him to week 8, week 9 last year, and remember, he was injured because he busted up his kneecap. He said it took him to week 8, week 9 to start to even think about figuring out defenses on the NFL level. Tom Brady is a master. If he had the talent, that they would be undefeated. They would challenge the 72 Dolphins undefeated season if Tom Brady was on Kansas City as the quarterback, because he didn't have to scramble around. He didn't have to run around and do fancy things. He's going to dissect and pick and choose and do everything he can with the weapons that he has offensively and murder defenses, man. So he's not a good example.
Okay, well, give me a good example.
Well, the good example would be if Mitchell Trubisky had those weapons and Matt Nagy's playbook, how effective he would be. And he wouldn't be Patrick Mahomes to me.
Well, you know what? You're right. And you're right. You're right, Jerry. Here's the deal. If Mitchell had the offensive line and the receiving core that Kansas City has, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, he could be successful. You're right. He could be successful. But you know what? It's not. How many teams in the NFL have that core of receivers with that kind of speed?
Yeah, it's not many.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, Kansas City. I mean, not only do they have speed, but they got guys that will catch the ball and just, and it's just go get it.
You know what's funny? Bruce, you know what's funny? When you watch them, it's Bruce. It's like they're running on in the Olympics on the track, right? Yeah. And it's like everybody else is running in mud. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
It's like when you watch their players, it's like somehow technology, they were able to speed them up fast and everybody else is moving in slow motion. It's unbelievable. It's hilarious.
Guys, this is Dan. That's one thing you can't teach. You can't teach speed.
You can't teach it.
You can't teach speed. But I tell you, you can put Trubisky in that system and he wouldn't be successful. He wouldn't be successful because you know what? It's too much going on. There's too much going on. There's a lot to process.
Right.
And this, you know, I don't know if he doesn't have the ability or he just hasn't had the time to learn. But the Trubisky today wouldn't be able to be successful in that system in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And you know, and I'm not saying that Mitch isn't intelligent. You know, you've got to be intelligent to some degree to play the sport at any position.
Right.
Because, you know, playing defense, man. I mean, you know, playing under Buddy Ryan, hell, we had a whole damn playbook. I mean, 60-something defenses that he could call at any one time in a game.
Right.
And, you know, and the team comes out, offense comes out, they line up in a split formation, they switch to a strong set, weak set, no backfield set. I mean, every time somebody shifted, there was a new defense that was called, and, you know, Singletary was calling those defenses right and left, Willie, you know, Frisco, double. I mean, you know what, he was changing defenses for every move that somebody made on that offense, whether it was a wide receiver or running back. You know, it changed. And so you've got to be able to comprehend that and make a decision on what your responsibility is in a split second.
Right.
Because if you're not where you're supposed to be when that ball is snapped, you know, there's a potential for a touchdown.
You're done. And I'm glad you said that. Right. You know, it used to always irk me when people say, "Oh, those football players, they're just a bunch of dumb jocks." I say, I go, really? I go, listen. If they gave you a playbook that you had to study for 4 weeks and get those plays down in preparation for the regular season, you think you could not only know the plays, but you gotta be able to execute those plays.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not. I go. So you got to be careful. You calling these guys dumb jocks, but the plays that they have to learn, they go, oh, they're just plays. That's your livelihood. If you don't know those plays, you could be bagging trophies. But here's the problem. Because we're not questioning Mitchell Trubisky's intellect. We're not questioning that. And you said it. It's his preparation.
You're questioning his ability.
Here's the deal. And it's not his fault. It's not. He just got the luck of the draw, but unfortunately, he's on the big stage and he's measured against his peers. The problem with Mitchell Trubisky, and no offense to the program, but he played at North Carolina. He didn't play at the Ohio State University. He did not play at Alabama. He did not play at Clemson. He did not play at Notre Dame. He did not play at a major university, a major system to prepare him for the next level. And so when he gets up here, and you talked about Jared Goff, we talk about Jameis Winston. We talk Marcus Mariota. These guys played at elite programs and they're struggling. So what do you expect from Mitchell Trubisky?
Yeah, but the killing thing is he only played 1 year.
Yes, that's even worse.
Yeah.
It's even worse. So listen, Cam Newton, he's struggling. I mean, if you can go down the list of players on the collegiate level. Listen, let's just stick with the Chicago Bears. I love Mike Tomczak. He played at the Ohio State University. He struggled as an NFL quarterback for the Bears. The guy Jim Harbaugh. Some people say he should be the next Bear coach. He beat the hell out of Ohio State when he was back there during the 80s. He struggled as a quarterback on the National Football League. These guys have played on the prestigious programs on the collegiate level, and it took them time to adjust and try to play halfway decent on the National Football League level. Mitchell Trubisky, he's always behind the curve, and he's never going to catch up.
You know, guys, even coaches have to adjust. Think about Andy Reid in 2016. His quarterback was Alex Smith. I mean, so he didn't have the same system for Smith as he had for Mahomes, as an example. You know what I mean? So, I mean, things do change.
That's right.
That's true.
Oh yeah, man. You got to advise the system for the talent that you have, and that's what Andy Reid has done. I mean, shit, Andy Reid, he never had this kind of talent when he was a head coach of Philadelphia.
Oh no.
Never had that kind of talent.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, look at the offense that they've come up with all of this damn talent around them, man. I mean, talent galore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? The front office does a hell of a job.
Yeah.
Recognizing talent and bringing them in.
You know, hey, we're gonna have to let you go. It's the fastest hour in sports conversation. I just think Mitchell Trubisky is not the quarterback for the Bears. He might be a serviceable quarterback for another team, and he may have. I wish him all the luck as far as longevity is concerned in the National Football League. But I think it'll serve him better, and it certainly served the fan base here in Chicago better if he found a new home. Your closing thoughts?
Well, my closing thoughts is this. During the offseason, I hope the Bears go out and get the very best offensive tackle that they can find in the college range. And you know what? And I just think the offensive line, although they're playing much better now than they were the first half of the season, I still think that we need some help on an offensive line.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I mean, the game doesn't change. The plays may change, the personnel may call, but the game itself doesn't change. And they said 75% of the game is played and won in the trenches. And so good coaches and good teams, or great coaches and great teams, they stack the deck. They get that offensive line, they get them big boys, and then they start building from there. Because we see what's happening with Deshaun Watson. The guy is a hell of a talent, but he's running around like a chicken with his head cut off. Dude, I mean, come on, man. You got to start in the trenches. That's where the fight starts, and that's where it ends. Hey, Bruce, you're the best, man. We love you, and hope Christmas, everything was good, man.
Everything was great. I want to tell you something before I get off. Next Sunday, I'm having one of my friends join us. One of my former teammates. Otis Wilson. Mama's boy Otis.
Mama's boy!
The ladies all love me for my body and my mind. That Otis.
Thank you, man. We're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to it.
We're gonna double team you next Sunday, man. So you got to wear your helmet, some pads and stuff, because we're gonna jack you up.
I'll be. Hey, you know what? Hey, Bruce, I'll be ready, but I don't think that's gonna be enough. Believe me. I don't think that's gonna be enough. Cause quiet as is kept, I think Otis still think he playing.
Otis got a little bit going on upstairs.
Hey man, he think he's still playing. I go, yes sir, mister, yes sir. That dude, man, he still put some fear in you. Hey Bruce, you're the best brother.
Man, that's my buddy, man. That's my buddy. Otis is one of my best friends ever. So,
well, we're looking forward to it, and thank you for setting that up, man. And have a great week. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you next Sunday after a Bear victory, man.
Love you, my brother. Be good.
You're the best. Be good. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Hey, so, it is the fastest hour in sports conversation. If you miss any portion of this broadcast, definitely check us out on YouTube. You can check us out on Facebook. Go to the rewindsports60.com, the rewindsports60.com. Twitch. You can catch us any portion of the broadcast you miss. We're right there for you. We're going to switch gears real quick. Paul Shivari, he's in our resident baseball expert. He's in the studio now, and there's a little bit of hot stove going on. We want to say condolences to Phil Niekro, who passed away. Was he 81?
81, yeah.
81 years of age. We want to say condolences to he and his family on the passing. He was one of the original knuckleballers. The guy was fantastic. He was outstanding. Performed exceptionally well and delighted so many baseball fans over the years in his careers. Condolences go out to he and his family. We also want to say condolences to a great friend of the program, and I reached out to him to pass along prayers and condolences, but the great, outstanding David Kaplan with NBC Sports Chicago and, of course, ESPN Radio AM 1000 here in the great city of Chicago. His mom passed away, I think, the day before Christmas. And any of you may know him personally, or you may know him through the radio or television, but David Kaplan is, no question about it, one of the best human beings on this planet. He is, I think everyone should aspire to be as genuine, honest, open, caring, and loving as David Kaplan. And I know he is deeply saddened and hurt because when you lose a parent, it's never easy. And I just want to say condolences and prayers once again go out to David Kaplan, his brother, and the entire Kaplan family on the passing of his mother. And if there's anything that we can do for David and his family, he knows how to get us and where to reach us. But God bless you, brother. Stay strong. Paul Shivari in studio, ladies and gentlemen. Hot Stove Baseball. What's the latest, man?
Well, gosh, no action today other than Phil Niekro passing away. The last big move was Josh Bell getting traded from the Pirates to the Nationals. Sam Fole, the GM now in the league, you remember him with the Cubs and the Red Sox.
Yeah.
But as far as the White Sox, they're still looking for possibly a right fielder, even though they have Adam Eaton. They definitely need a closer. They've been rumored to be linked to Liam Hendricks from now a free agent, but formerly of the Athletics. You still got Alex Colomé as a free agent, and you know what he can do as the closer. Or they could work with something in-house, whether that's going to be Aaron Bummer, Garrett Crochet, maybe Michael Kopech, but that's a little out there. That's me pushing for that more than anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Sox have a good team right now, but they definitely need to address the back end of the bullpen, and maybe another outfielder to platoon with Adam Eaton, because everybody splits, whether it's Engel, Eaton, or Leori Garcia, terrible against left-handed pitchers. So we'll see. We'll see what they decide to address over these next few weeks here.
So we haven't had an opportunity to talk with you regarding the biggest move for the White Sox during the offseason. That, of course, was the hiring of Tony La Russa. I see you rolling your eyes over there. The old geezers like myself were like, we're like, yes, let's bring them on. We got some finished business to take care of. Of course, the winning ugly team back in '83, and they got close, but it was busted up. Jerry Reinsdorf say, hey, I'm the man. This is my team. He's my guy. He's coming here to manage the Chicago White Sox to get me that World Series ring that I desperately want. Your thoughts on that?
If it was 2012, I would have been thrilled about the move. But in 2020, I just don't know, just with the age difference. But I guess I do like the statement that it makes that the White Sox are all in. I mean, I think this wasn't going to be a development year in 2021, and they don't want to experiment with Rick Renteria or see if A.J. Hinch actually can manage a championship team without the assistance of sign stealing. So they're all in with Tony La Russa. Now, I wasn't thrilled about the move, and this was before I found out about the DUI, but at the same time, I do think La Russa's character speaks for itself, or at least his reputation as a winning manager. There's only 23 people ever to be named a Hall of Fame manager in baseball. And go figure, the White Sox would be the fan base that would be upset about getting a Hall of Fame manager. But it's weird. I mean, this is the guy that was managing the team when I was born, so it's just kind of weird that it's full circle like that.
Yeah.
But I root for the Raiders, and the same guy that was coaching the team when I was in high school is coaching the team. So
well, I'm glad that they didn't go for the one that was managing Al Lopez when I was born.
Now that's good. That's good, Marvelous. And as far as I'm all in. I think baseball is baseball, regardless of the analytics, regardless of the bat flipping and all that nonsense. I do understand that, and Dallas Keuchel said, hey, wait a minute, there was no real discipline or order in the clubhouse. And he had to check the team and say, listen, we gotta get serious about this. This is what champions do, and you guys aren't acting like champions. Tony La Russa is going to bring that.
Exactly.
He's going to command that respect in that clubhouse. And I think this is going to propel them from, the lovable kids having fun and enjoying the game to champions.
Yeah, if they want to win, this is the guy that I think is best fit to get them to that level. At least out of the options. I wasn't really sold on AJ Hinch. I wanted Sandy Alomar Jr., but there was never any serious talks about him coming over. So yeah, if that's the best guy you got, Tony La Russa, yeah, let's do it.
You know who I thought it was going to be, and we'll talk some Cubs real quick before we get out of here. It's the fastest hour in sports conversation. Omar Vizquel.
Yeah, but then...
that sucked. Because I truly believe the Sox were grooming him to be that guy.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
And then that happens.
That sucks, man.
Yeah.
That sucks. And, sometimes, as they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. And it's just disappointing because you don't want that to happen. Real quick, 10 seconds. As far as the Cubs are concerned, we apologize, Cub fans. But Cub Nation, what do they have to look forward to?
Oh, gosh. Who's going to be the long-term guy they keep? Is it going to be Bryant or is it going to be Baez? Where are they going? What direction are they headed? I don't know what you look forward to as the Cubs. I mean, I guess you still have enough to possibly have a winning team next year, but there's a lot of questions there.
Paul Shivari, thank you so very much. The marvelous one, Dan Marver, and of course the best producer in the city, that Devin Tingle. Yours truly, Jerry Riles, the Rewind Sports 60. Take care, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the
Please raise your hand. John Dietz.
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Good.
I'm just curious, like in a game like this, when you're game planning with Coach Nagy, do you guys talk about how much you might need to take chances in certain situations where you wouldn't normally do that against a team like the Packers to keep them off the field? Like 4th and 2 from your own 40, 4th and 2 from midfield. And then like, how quick do you have to make that decision, in the game? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just curious on those things from behind the scenes standpoint.
Yeah, I think the game management comes up every week. I'm trying to think if there's ever a week it doesn't come up. And I think, what the head coach has to do is look at the whole picture. Not that we as assistants don't. We do also, because, as the discussion comes up. And then on game day, it's pretty simple. The head coach makes a decision as fast as he can, and off we go. So, I think that's probably question, the decision part of it more for coach than it is for us.
But do you feel like you need to take a little bit more chances to keep Rodgers off the field in a game like this?
How I feel doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Mark Grody.
Bill, I'm curious. There's a theme locally and nationally that while the Bears offense has played better lately, it's come against below average defenses. What do you think when you hear that? And then are you looking forward to maybe proving that theory wrong against a good defense in the Packers?
Hadn't heard it, Mark. So I don't know about that theory. We just, it's not that we don't, I guess we don't have as much time on our hands to think like that. We're just trying to get ready today to figure out if we can make enough first downs. to win. We've been doing pretty well on third down recently. We'd like to keep that trend going. And when the Packers keep teams down on third down, it's turned out to be pretty good in the win-loss column for them. It's a pretty good statistic that correlates with their victories this year. So that's really the focus. So those kind of things that we just don't have time. And I honestly don't hear that kind of stuff.
Dion?
On the coordinator's call.
Bill, how different is your relationship with Mitch and working with Mitch now as opposed to back in week 12, that first game you guys were together in Green Bay?
Oh, I just think we're just getting to know each other better. So I just think I thought you were going to ask from the beginning of the season training camp. So immediately my mind started thinking of the first days of practice. I mean, it's just a process. And so we're just going through it. And I think we've talked about it before. I'll repeat it. Mitch is doing a great job communicating with the coaching staff. So that helps us really get to know him. So for me personally, that's his communication process probably, and his willingness to say what he feels really helps me get to know him. So we're just what you need between the coaching staff and the players, especially the quarterback, all players, but really especially the quarterback, I think can only be earned with experience. And so we're just doing that over time. And this year, not having OTAs and not having a normal length of training camp has really made it hard. And so I think we're still in the catch up mode.
Dan?
Bill, you guys went into the bye week pretty emphatic about trying to find some solutions in the red zone and have been really, really good in December in succeeding down there. I'm curious, without giving away state secrets, what you think has been the biggest reason or some of the roots behind the breakthrough.
Well, we, you try to balance in all areas of the game plan, and red zone even probably in the situation you're talking about, how we were failing there. You just balance what are things that we feel we do well, what are things that have proven give trouble to the opponent, and what are the matchups to work. In other words, getting the ball to our best people versus, especially if we can do it against their lesser people. And so every week you balance those three things. Some teams are willing to totally change what they do offensively every week in order to attack the weaknesses of the opponents. Some teams feel like, look, we're really, really good at what we do, and we're going to do it and see if you can stop it. And then you like to think there's some balance in there of trying to get both. So I think over time, probably we've done a better job of evaluating like what can we really be good at, and again, some of that just takes experience and time, and you don't have all those June practices where you can line up against the defense down in the red zone and put the ball at the 20 and just kind of creep it down and see how your guys react. You're missing a lot of that experience that helps players develop and helps the team develop. So now we're trying to catch up on that, and hopefully we've caught up. I wish we'd done better sooner, but all we can do is go forward.
Mark Potash?
Hey, Bill, when teams have the kind of sudden success or different success that you guys have had the last 4 weeks, the league eventually responds. And I'm wondering if you've noticed that teams are responding to what you're doing. And I'm wondering how prepared do you feel you are to kind of stay a step ahead of the league, especially against a team like the Packers that has a history of, they play the chess game pretty well, and they're pretty good at it. And it seems like that's a formidable challenge with this kind of newfangled offensive attack, I guess you guys say.
Oh, I thought Jacksonville took a couple things away from us that we had been pretty good at recently. And I thought during the game, we responded pretty well. You give them credit. I mean, they're NFL players and coaches. They study the film. They see what we do well. And so we had to make some adjustments in games that turned out to be pretty good. So I think everyone's going to do that. I think you have to assume that Green Bay knows us very well, right? Because they studied us about 5 weeks ago. obviously there's a history with the coaches playing against not only the scheme here, but also against our players. So I go into this game feeling like if there's anything about us to know, just assume Green Bay knows it. And then you get back into, okay, now we know that they know, so they're going to do something different. So should we do something different, or should we just do what we do well? I mean, that's what you go through all the time. And the reason why you have those big sheets on game day is for all the contingencies, right? I mean, what if it's a tie game at halftime? What if we have the lead at halftime? What if we're behind at halftime? And you just have to be able to work into those things. Green Bay is a team that plays in a lot of multiple defensive personnel groups. They play the most dime defense of anyone in the NFL. So they have a lot of DBs on the field. Well, what if against us, like against the Titans, they decide to put more linebackers and less DBs on the field because we've been running the ball? Well, we have to have a plan for that. I mean, that's all week as we're planning. Well, how are they going to play if we have two tight ends? Well, sometimes they play with dime. Sometimes they play with nickel. Sometimes they play with base. You have to have a plan for each of those. And so that's kind of our every week. Even when you're not doing well, the team's still going to try to stop you, right? So you kind of have to prepare that way all the time. And I do give credit. Just like I said, I thought Jacksonville did some good things early in the game, and we had to respond. And I thought our guys handled that on the sideline really well.
Kevin?
Hey, Bill, I'm wondering what's kind of struck you about the way David has really come on in the past 5 weeks, and if it's brought a little bit of an option to open the playbook just because he's been able to do so many things for you guys.
I think the number one thing that comes to mind is that zero has changed about who David is. I mean, this is just what he does. He does it all the time. He acts the same. He works the same. From watching him out at walkthrough or at practice, you would have no idea how many yards he ran for the week before. I mean, that's David Montgomery. He's very reliable. He's the same guy every day, which, is a huge compliment for a coach, I think, to give to a player, because you appreciate those guys. You know what to expect every single day when they walk in the door, and that's David. I think there was a point, I wish I could remember exactly which game it was. There was a game where after the game, Mitch just in passing made the comment that when he dropped the ball down to David, it might have been the first Green Bay game, how he broke tackles after the catch, and it just guys on the team just started noticing that, how he was playing with the ball in his hand in space. And I guess he's probably maybe the big recipient of a lot of the momentum we have going in the run game, but he also is part of what's causing it, right? It's probably goes hand in hand.
Jason?
Bill, have you seen a lot of improvement from Trubisky, or do you see basically the same player that you started with, just in an offense that fits better for him?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the key, to perform like we've performed on third down recently, you can't do that without the quarterback play, and I think as you watch over time, as you watch young quarterbacks progress into not young anymore, but a little bit, somewhat young quarterbacks into fifth-year quarterback, as they progress, like if you're looking at the lifespan of a long-time quarterback, 3, 4, 5 years is still on the short end of it, right? Sometimes the third downs and the red zone production are the last things to come, and the 2-minute offense are the last things to come. Not always, but I think for a lot of the guys that I've been around, that just takes a little bit more. It's just a little more pressure. It's harder to do those things when the defense knows you're passing, right? And so I think that's just one. That would be an indicator of Mitch's improvement. I mean, the hardest thing to do in football for the quarterback is to throw when they know you're throwing. And so, I don't want to get too far ahead of anything, but I guess to answer your question, if we look at how that has improved, then I would say Mitch is part of that.
Got time for a couple more quick, Hub?
Hey, Bill, Happy New Year to you. You may have answered part of this when you say Jacksonville took some things away in the first half, but it felt in that first half, with the amount of time you spent in shotgun, the pass to run ratio, like you may have gotten away a little bit from some of the things that had worked so well in earlier weeks. And I'm wondering if that was an attempt to see if you could add back some of what you'd gotten away from and create more options, or if it was just kind of the way the game went and adjustments that you had to make at halftime.
I thought we ran the ball pretty well from shotgun against Jacksonville. So I think that was part of the plan that we had gone in with. Again, you have a big call sheet and a lot of runs on there, so you don't always know exactly what their plan is, right? They're game planning for you, and the way it worked out, I thought that the shotgun runs were a good part of our production that week. And some of the run pass ratio is based on what they're doing, whether it be a check at the line or a run pass option that the quarterback has. So sometimes in order to take advantage of the most optimum look, you take that chance that, hey, we're gonna throw it on this down, and you react to what they do and get the best of both worlds. So I think it was a mixture of all those things. I thought we would have liked to have more production as far as points in the first half. But I think the shotgun to under, I think we kind of carry the ability to do that. I think when we look at ourselves, the ability to be a shotgun team or an under center team, we think makes us a little bit harder to defend.
And last one, Dan.
Bill, you guys have been consistent as a coaching staff with sort of the awareness that there's a human side to every player that you're coaching. And I'm curious with Mitch, when he was in that stretch in early October where he had been benched and he felt like he was blindsided and, he was trying to get himself through that, how you noticed the evolution of that and what you guys had to do as coaches to make sure that you could rebuild that bond and that unity so that when you did need him again, it was all good.
Well, just like I said, you'd like the players to be the same person every day. I think I would hopefully Mitch would say that as far as the player-coach relationship and the personal relationship, that I was the same all the time with him. I mean, that's, everyone goes through ups and downs in their play over time. So as a coach, just like any teacher, you just try to be there and be consistent and in whatever circumstances we find ourselves right now, be there. And how part of your job as a coach is to help the person get better, to help the player get better, both, and so I just tried to be consistent and then let him go through, the growth he was going to keep going through. I think we would all probably guess that he's continued to grow to some degree this year, right? I'd like to hope as a person and a coach I have too. We'll see. We'll let other people judge that.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Matt, how are you?
Good, Pat. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I hate to ask a housekeeping question, but what's going on with Bobby Massey? Does he have a chance to play Sunday? And are you hesitant at all to mess with a good thing?
Well, we were able to get him out there and just kind of ease on into things. I mean, he's been out for a little while now, and I think realistically we have to keep an eye on kind of how he's feeling and where he's at. I think he's doing good, but we'll just have to kind of day by day see where it's at. Keep talking to him, and I don't know if I would go as far as to say that he's going to get in there this weekend, but he's just trying right now to see what it's like to get out there. And I mean, he hasn't done it for a while, but it was definitely good to see him out there.
Adam Johns.
Hey, Matt, Eddie Jackson was on here earlier, and he was talking about the big screens at Hallis Hall with the Packers on there in the locker room and kind of walking into the building. I'm curious, is that like the defensive players? What type of vibe are you kind of getting with them as maybe that Week 12 game is brought up again and they're seeing it, they're going through the film? Like, what's the vibe amongst those guys that you're getting after 2 practices?
I would say, I think the vibe with them, just me knowing who they are, every week, all year long, and what they've been through, the magnifying glass is the performance that we had, on defense in Green Bay. And so our guys are competitors and they know that they can play a lot better. And so they're motivated. I don't think it's all for them. It's more about just going out and doing things and playing fast and So you see guys like Eddie, you see guys like Khalil, like Akeem, like Roquan, and Danny, and there's a bunch of those guys that they have pride and they care about how they play this game, not only for themselves but for their team and for their city. And so they know that they're a good defense. And that game that day, we didn't play very well. That's as simple as that. And Green Bay played really well, to credit to them. So again, that's why you get to play 2 in the division.
Dan Wiederer.
Matt, an extension of that, Eddie was talking about I think it's a digital board that has some quotes from folks that are sort of the modern day bulletin board material. I'm curious who supplies the content for that and how you sort of figure out how to press the right buttons with that.
Yeah, I mean, we have those video boards are pretty cool. There's a lot of neat things that we're able to do with those throughout the brand new building. And so we have I don't know, there's like somebody special behind the scenes that decides what goes up there. And then it goes up and the guys get to see some neat pictures sometimes of themselves and sometimes of their opponents. And, whatever that person decides to throw up on that board and for them to see, it's a treat for me when I walk in and get to see it as well. And so it sounds like that you guys said Eddie brought one of them up. So, it's I guess it's all part of the game.
Is this like the Wizard of Oz? You don't know who's behind the curtain doing this?
It could be, maybe.
John Dietz.
Hey, Matt, I just wanted to go back to something you said Monday where you said you can't fall into that deal where you hype the game up so much that you play differently. So my question to you is, do you have to think differently as a coach when you're facing a team like this? Like, you're going to take the ball. If you get the coin flip win, maybe we need to go for it on 4th down in unorthodox spots to keep it out of Rodgers' hands. Forget the field goal if you're deep in their end. Just things like that. Do you think about that? Or are those things you might want to put into this kind of game plan?
We do that, John. Really, every game we get together as the coordinators and myself, and we always talk about how we want to approach each game. And then if there's instances like that we feel like we need to do, we'll talk through that, and they'll be able to give their opinions that they talk to with their staff. And then the 4 of us get together and we talk through. And I think when you go into a game like this, you have to make sure that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's in all 3 phases. And then you come up with a plan, a plan that is something that's not just specifically X's and O's, and there might be a bigger plan. And we do that every game. But obviously, I think it's stating the obvious in a game like this. You got to figure out where you're at, what the best way is that's going to give you the greatest chance to win. And so I guess that's kind of a long-winded answer to say yes.
Mark Grody.
Hi, Matt. With Jalen and Buster being out, according to the injury report again today, you guys have to, at this point, kind of assume that or practice as if they're not going to play, or are they still day-to-day? How's that looking?
Yeah, I would say they're day-to-day, and as long as they're not out there practicing, that's just how our mindset is, Mark, with just who is out there. And we've gone through a couple of weeks now of those guys being out there, and that's just where we're at this year. And whether it's an injury or something else, those guys that have been playing have done a really good job. If we're able to get those other guys back and get out there and play, it's going to do nothing but help us. But you have to kind of approach it like they're not, and then it's not a surprise if they don't play,
Thank you.
JJ?
Hey, Matt, Jimmy's played in quite a few of these games, whether it's been in the playoffs or just, really high magnitude regular season games. What do you think that presence can do for your offense and just for maybe even the comfort of play calling on Sunday, just knowing that Jimmy's been in these situations before?
Well, I think a lot of that for Jimmy, where that's great is him being able to talk to the guys. We have a younger team, especially on offense. And so he's able to talk to those players and kind of give them the mindset of how to approach the Monday through Saturday more than anything. On game day, they all have their own ways of what they do. They get focused and locked in. But, how do you practice? When you're watching tape, what are you looking for? And then as to, what went on the first game, and then how do you approach a big game like this? What's the mindset of that? I think Jimmy would tell you too, that he's learning in all these years he's been playing. He probably plays this game a lot different mentally than what he did as a first, second, third year guy. So he can give these younger guys his experiences of what he wouldn't do or what he would do. So, it just goes back to when you have time in this league like he does, and you've played in big games and played for successful teams, you rely on that. And I think now, greater than ever for us on offense, he's a valuable asset, not just because of who he is as a player, but how he practices. And his speed right now in practice, guys, is his GPS numbers are like crazy good in practice in week 16. Like in practice and in the game. I mean, he's rolling right now, and we joke about him being 39 or whatever he is, and he's rolling pretty good.
Couple more for Coach Larry.
Hey, Matt, I hope you're doing well. Just wanted to ask, all your players know you win, you get in, but also if the Cardinals lose, you also get in. I was wondering, and obviously you want them focusing on the task at hand. Has there been any talk, or have you made a decision on whether or not you're going to show the score on the scoreboard of the other game? I think I read somewhere where the Colts made a directive to their stadium. They're not going to show any other scores.
Yeah, I think that's probably the direction that we'll go as well. We got to worry about us, and we got to make sure that that we do everything we can to win this game. So we'll discuss that, go through all that. But if I had to lean one way or the other, I'm sure that most of us would want it that way. And I think that that's the right thing to do.
Kevin Fishbane.
Hey, Matt, is there a way that you want your guys to mentally approach facing Aaron Rodgers? I mean, you have enough guys in your team who were there in 2018 when you won, but also enough guys who have seen just what he's capable of, even if you throw everything you got at him over the years. I mean, how do you want them to kind of approach someone like him?
Well, just understanding, number one, that there's a lot of good plays that happens when he's behind the center, and he can make a lot of plays. And so I think that this game is more about being able to respond to when a good play does happen, right? So you go back to that first game, and we had him in third down, that first drive of the game, and he dropped back, he scrambled, he bought some time, and then he made a hell of a throw to his guy for a touchdown. And so you worked hard to get to that position, and then on third down and long, he scores a touchdown. How do you recover from that? Do you come out the next drive and you get a stop, or do you let that defeat you a little bit offensively? Knowing okay, they scored a touchdown. Can you go down now and match it with a touchdown? So that's where it's an advantage for us, I feel, to have the veteran guys we have on defense that have played in big games to be able to really rally around each other and step up and impact the game, because they're strong mentally. And we as coaches can do so much, but really ultimately, right, Kevin, when it comes down to it on game day, these guys got to go out and they got to find a way to make things happen. And that's where you rely on teaching these guys all year long to prepare for this type of moment. I mean, how would you not want this kind of moment to happen? It's pretty cool.
Last one, Dan.
Matt, on the topic of keeping your emotions in check and trying to keep that excitement and that energy calibrated properly, I'm curious, obviously you can't control 46 guys and their mindset heading into a game, but is there anything applicable from the kickoff game in 2019 that you took away from that experience that you can utilize or draw from as a head coach this week? Yeah,
that kind of goes back, Dan, to what that was a build-up game in 2019. First game of the year, big rivalry, primetime game, the 100-year anniversary, all that. And look, that's why I say that some of that build-up and that balance of making the game too big. I thought that for us, especially right now, we're in a pretty good place as a team, not just in the three phases, but really just the vibe, the energy, the confidence, all that's really good. So why go too crazy and trying to reach too much to make something? We know. I mean, if you're in this building, we talk about it in the off season. We talk about the history and the rich tradition of Chicago and the rivalry that we have within our own division with Green Bay. And so these guys know it. The social media world is so big, they get it. They can learn from there. But we also respect that part, and all the former players and coaches that have been a part of this greatest rivalry in the history of sports. If you have to be told that and get juiced up for this, and you shouldn't be here. I mean, this is what it's all about, man. So you get a little bit fired up, you get going, but like I tell the guys, don't peak too soon. Let's just relax right here, and then we'll get ready on game day.
Was the buildup in 19? Was it because there was months of it?
Yeah, I guess I probably didn't answer that great. Yes, I would say yes. There's a buildup to it, and so you have that. You just know that's going on, and now you have training camp to kind of pull back a little bit, but then you have a good 2 weeks prior and all that. So I would say for sure that's a big part of it. Yeah.
Thanks, Coach. We're all set.
All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you.